Welcome back to Phasma and Giants. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hi guys, Lee here, and once again, a huge warm welcome back to Phasma and Giants, the Doctor and Star Wars podcast show. So, Mandalorian has been what I like to call one of my favourite pieces of TV of all time. I get people don't like it, I get people love it. And it's about time that I begin to share my thoughts on the series. Now it's been a month and a few weeks gone, and bring some joy and love. And also maybe a few little twists. So let's begin. I'm going to start with my overall thoughts on the series like I did with The Bad Batch. I think it's just amazing, to be honest. I don't think there's an episode that personally is bad at all. I just think they're all very consistent. They have something enjoyable. It reminds back to when Doctor Who Flux was on back in 2021. And I liked all the episodes then. I still do now. Spoiler alert! We'll get to that next time. Back to Mando. Apologies, I just had to do that. There's something about this series that I personally enjoy. I think there's just some amazing characters that just come across well. I love the character journeys. But one thing that really stands out for me is the constant comeback and then really proving some points. Axe Wolves, of course, Paz Vizsla, Liara, Bo, Katan Kryze. Yeah, there's just so many people proving their worth, and I'm so glad they have, because sometimes when you see them originally, they don't have that wow factor. But when you give them plenty of time, like these guys, they come back and make a stand, and I love that. Also, there are some potential references to Admiral Thrawn's return in Ahsoka with Mads Mikkelsen once again playing role. So, and they did that really well. So I'm interested to see what that leads to. And of course, the leads up with the New Republic and the problems, that is something I'll get to in a bit. Overall, I just felt it was enjoyable. Din Djarin and Din Grogu. I've got to get to these guys. They are one of the most important double acts to me in real life. I just enjoy them so much, and I think I was so excited for them, helped them come through at the end of the day. And I just love Grogu coming into the strong Mandalorian he is, him learning how to be Mandalorian, Din's, of course, redemption, and then the finale. Everything just felt amazing. And what thing I will say was really special was to see them get the reality of Din adopting Grogu. Now Din Grogu, as I originally said. It's just amazing, because I think a lot of us will want it when they're going to make it official. So I'm really glad they've made it official. It's like Phasma at the end of the day, and Leave the Dark, they finally confirmed that. I know there was rumours, but they confirmed it. And now with the Dins, they've confirmed that. So I just love it. I just felt Pedro Pascal brought a lot with the vocals, with especially when he had a lot of, guys, a lot of people have been a bit critical, but I understand. But in the day, I'm happy with what we got, so I can say. But also, there's two other special people I've got to mention: Brendan Wayne and Lateef Froda. It's about time these guys got the credit. They finally got credited in the series. They've done a really great job, and they both bring different strengths to the role, and it helps come across with Pedro's voice and the puppeteering of Grogu. Everything just worked, and I'm just so happy to see more of Din Grogu, and I'm excited for whether they appear next. So I'm just so excited for the next stage of the Din Grogu chapter. Let's get to Cathy Sackles' Bo-Katan Kryze. This is one of my biggest highlights of this year so far. I felt Bo-Katan really turned a corner. Now, in episode 1, I felt, okay. I was kind of suspicious. Episode 2, they had Cathy up. Then, I get suspicious again. And then bam, she proves me wrong. And it's like, oh my gosh, there's more to Bo. And then throughout the series, I was like unsure if she was to be trusted, but I still loved the story that they were going for. And at the end, she just became a hero. And that's why the storyline for me works, because I was interested, I was suspicious. And I think that's what makes this series stand out in Bo's favour. This was like a love letter to the development of the animations, and they've just made it better. And showing the fact that Bo can change from becoming one of those terrorists to the successful hero of the year. And that's why it's important that Bo is seen as a better leader. She has her doubts, she needs reassurance. That's where Jen comes in. And finally, she comes in, doesn't let everything faze her, and saves the world, saves Mandalore, and helps Din and Grogu take on Moff Gideon, which we'll get to in a bit. But Kai, for me, did an incredible job with Bo's story, and I just can't stop saying how great it is. The music for the first two is amazing. It's still just as good as the first two. This song is Joseph Shirley on his own, and he did it with Luke Wilson on the Book of Welfare, and Ludwig did the first two series. I think like Ludwig, like Sigurd Nakanola, of course, Miracle from Doctor Who, the Kindness from the Bad Batch and the animation series, and soon to be Ahsoka, yes. He seems to make me emotional. Like, there's so many good tracks. For example, the moment when Grogu gets his armor, that little poultice thingy, or shield thing that covers his neck, the one that protects him from that, I believe, pipe thingy from the Return. It's just that moment where you just feel, Grogu's growing up, and it's his first step, and it's just amazing. Another track I'd like to say and talk about are the Mandalorian theme ones. They're amazing, like the moment when they take on Moff Gideon at the end. It really brings a lot of loyalty and a lot of triumph, and it's amazing. Of course, what the way together, amazing track, and of course Bo-Katan and Din Grogu's themes becoming entwined, and also their unusuals being upgraded, and the new Mandalorian theme sometimes being included at the start. Amazing. I just think Joseph did a great job of it, and it's just amazing. I wanted to talk about Dr. Pershing, which I mentioned previously in the Convert review. Ahmed Abtawi did a wonderful job with the performance of him, changing his ways, and then unfortunately what happened at the end. And if I look back, even though the episode personally is my least favourite, I felt Ahmed's performance was so good. I think what I like about this turnaround event is when somehow the least episode does live up a quality performance, like we see with Ahmed's, and also Kay O'Brien, of course, making us feel for her that she changed and she hasn't, and what she does later on in the series, the performance Kay does is amazing. It's so good, and I like Kay, legend, and that's the thing with these guys, because I think this is the recurring theme of Mando 3, in my perspective, is people who haven't been recognised before are getting the recognition they deserve. And these guys aren't the only ones. Characters like Simon Castillo as Axe Wolves, John Farrell and Tate Fisher as Fizzler, Emily Swallows the Armourer, they came in and also made a case. And it just felt like what I think other shows can do going forward is if they can bring the same amount of finesse for these characters, they are going to deliver going forward. Like Paz, I felt more for Paz as a person, and I was sad when he left. And then Axe just felt more like a character. He changed his ways, and Yama just saying that I'm just actually a nice girl, and I'm a hero, and she is a hero. And I think that's the most important thing to look, especially when we're going to go into Ahsoka coming soon. And then with the Doctor Who situation, which it is looking that there's a potential here, but depending on what Ahsoka can do, has the Mandalorian done enough to convince returning characters can come back with a vengeance and be better. I can't wait to find out and see. Paul Sung Lee did a brilliant job as Carson Teva. Like everyone else who made a comeback, he finally made his mark. I'm so happy for him because I don't think it's easy when a lot of these characters that don't appear as much have the right amount of time. But what Paul did with Carson this time, he made him more memorable. He made him more a hero. I think if I feel like he's a hero more, then I'll connect more. And I think that's what I love about Carson now. He's more a hero than he was. And if he comes back, I'm ready for more Carson because he just made himself a better character and Paul's just made himself more memorable. And I'm so happy for him. The directorial quality of this series, in my personal opinion, has been amazing. We had Carl Weathers return and just excel himself. And we've also had Bryce Dallas Howard probably do her best. I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of the episode. I personally am, and I just love what she did. I think it's her best, if I'm going to be honest. Probably joint with Johnny Mandalorian back in the Book of Boba Fett. Also, we had the newcomers. We have Peter Ramsey, who will be returning in one of the next two shows. We also have Lee Isaac Chung and Rachel Morrison as well. They did The Mans of Mandalore, The Converts, and The Pirate. And I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what Peter can do next because he did a really great job with Sasa. And Lee Isaac did a really great job with, of course, the Convert. Because I just think it's, like I said, even if it's not my favourite, I still think it has a lot of great qualities and good direction. And of course, The Mines of Mandalore by Rachel. Oh, she did a really great job with everything. And like I said, that episode was a game changer. I'm going to get back to that later. But yeah, all great directors. And also Rick Famuyiwa finally at his peak. Oh my god. His first episode was good, but the last two episodes he did, they were outstanding. And it just gives me a thought for what he's going to do next in the future. Because he's come back. Bryce Dallas Howard also come back. It's gonna be interesting what they do next. Because what I love about this show, it gives a lot of great directors a chance to do something amazing. And even on actors like, of course, Cal as Greed, and then Bryce, she's done a lot of other things. It just allows them to try something. And that's why I want to give a lot of support and love to directors of The Mandalorian. Back to Carl Weathers. Yes, I really loved him as Grief Karga this series. He felt like he has grown from what he was in season 1 to now, and I think it's important to see the fact that people who have a negative background at the start can change. And I think Grief has that opportunity, and I'm glad that he did, because he's just a nice guy, and he's given the Mandalorians a temporary home, and then given the Dins their own home, and Cal just brings joy every time he is Grief, and I just think he's a legend. Love Cal as Grief. Always will be Team Grief. Giancarlo Esposito as Moff Gideon was one of my highlights of the series. He really felt a lot more evil than he has done, especially with his revenge against the Mandalorians. And it does work in terms of when you look at what they've done before. You'll need to look at what was explained before and what they've done has to help get a glimpse of what threat Mandalore was. And yeah, and I think his character's development was very interesting. They did miss some bits out in this one, even though I love the one, I'm a huge fan, which actually would have helped him a lot more, also made him a bit more human. But you know what we got was enough, and he just felt like a villain with revenge, and he gave it all in his last battle with the Mandalorians. It really felt like a proper fight. Yes, it was 3 against 1, but it just was nice to see him shine, even though he was defeated but Giancarlo brought everything around, made Moff a better version of what we've seen before because of the development. I want to talk about the Mandalorian plot in this series. I think this was the best it's ever been. I personally prefer still what we had in the animations, but that's just my cup of tea. I think the animations will work for other people. I just like the fact that it all led to this battle for Mandalore, and the Mandalorians gained their home planet back, and of course it helped show that Mandalorians are stronger together. And I think it's important to know that a lot of these would still be enemies if they didn't join forces to take back their planet. And I think that's what makes the difference when you have a good story plot like this, and it really brought some characters to life. I just loved what they did with the design, the direction Rachel Marson went in the first time we saw Mandalorian in the series, and then I just loved the whole creatures, the explorations, the everything. It just made me appreciate the whole planet and make me help understand the Mandalorians more. I want to talk about the Darksaber. Okay, I think for me, I'm very more in the Mandalorian than the animations, but if I'm going to be honest, I'm just not a big fan of... I just think it's confusing. That's the problem I have with it. It's like, it's not like the Timeless Child and Doctor Who where basically what happens is it's like the Darksaber, it's not as great, but it has more momentum, if I'm honest, even though the real episode's not, it's more average at best. I think the fact is that I think the Mandalorian does a better job in showing that it is the person who disarms the lost owner more than the rebels when they mess up entirely. And then I don't think Darth Maul will use it all, and that's the thing. But I will say the animations did a good job in showing that the Darksaber always just brought trouble, and what the Mandalorian does is it shows that Mandalorians are strong together. As Bo-Katan learns, as she sees the Darksaber destroyed, she knows it's not needed, and it turns the tide, of course, in the Mandalorian's way. I just think it's executed brilliantly there, and it's like the Timeless Child once again in Lancashire's a finale that is underloved by the fans. I get people don't enjoy it, but it just has a beautiful moment with a beautiful prelude with 13 having that tear. Still so emotional. Love you, Jodie. Miss you, Jodie. Miss you, Fane. Back to Mandalorian. Oh yeah, sorry about I was getting sent no, my friends. So yeah, but like that, I just think it does a good job in saying nothing needs to happen. The Doctor didn't need to open the watch. Mandalorians don't need a Darksaber, and that's how I see it. It's time to talk about the final two stories. Okay, so I think that both of them are very well done. I do think the return does increase after the spies, but it didn't really matter yet because it all pays off. Personally, I think this is divisive and it's understandable once again. I just have this emotional connection. Maybe it's just because Grogu becomes the hero, Bo-Katan steps up, and then Din, adopting Grogu. There's so many big points in this episode, and I think it's like I say with the Vanquishers and Doctor Who. I'll be talking about that very soon, Doctor Fans, so don't you worry. It's got something that is well executed and proves a point. And I think with this one, it has some of the best pieces of music, probably one of the best battle scenes. Axel's becoming the hero, Bo-Katan just being Bo-Katan and learning a lesson. The armor once again showing how badass she is. Yes, what a legend. Yeah, it's just so much. And of course, my boy Griefy giving those keys. And Ragnar finally having that initiation. It's just a finale that probably will remain in my heart for quite a long time. My favourite episodes of the series have to be The Mines of Mandalore, Guns for Hire, and The Return. But here's the thing with the series, I just love all 8. No matter if I rank them last or first. I just think it's a series that is rewatchable for me, and I can't stop talking how good the quality is. And Jon Favreau did a great job, and Noah and of course David Filoni also did a great job as well. So I just think it's one of the strongest series, just like Doctor Who Flux was. And I just think it's amazing to see what you can do when you step out. Finally, I have a lot of favourite scenes, but I'll just say 3 here. One of them is the scene when Grogu goes to get Bo-Katan to rescue Din. My next choice is Grogu getting his little thing where it protects him later on in the series. And then I'd say the next one is going to be that scene with Bo and Din having that chat and Din putting his loyalty. There's just so many great scenes in this series, and I think that's why it makes it so hard for me to choose which one is the best, because they're all very great. The next episode is all about Doctor Who Flux. That's right, it's time to go back to Jodie Whittaker's final series. The one that, as I've said, is divisive, but I personally have a love for it. And what is also a consistent scoring series. I can't wait to share my thoughts on it with you and just give some honest thoughts and bring you guys up to date with how I feel about it. And of course, it is a year. Well, it's been a year since it's happened, so it's time to give you guys a fresh perspective, and I'm excited to bring you that content. Thank you for listening to this podcast about The Mandalorian. I hope you enjoyed hearing my opinions. Please comment down below what you think of The Mandalorian, and if you had any issues, I would love to hear what they were so we can have a good conversation. Please like and subscribe to the channel, or get in touch if you want to appear on the podcast. Really appreciate all the support. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Subscribe to Phasma and Jarens and stay tuned for more podcasts. See ya!